This will be an unboxing of the ASUS P8-Z77-V Pro socket 1155 motherboard. That is a PCI Express 3 ready. On the front of the box we see NVIDIA SLI support, Z77 chipset, so that's the new Ivy Bridge chipset from Intel. Virtue MVP, AMD Crossfire X, support for Intel Core Series processors, DTS audio, support for 22nm, the new Ivy Bridge CPUs, and 32nm socket LGA 1155 CPUs. And here, sort of small font, is support for Intel Smart Response technology, HDMI output, has Wi-Fi Go with BGNN support, precise power control with the DigiPlus voltage regulation, true USAP mode, which is a USB 3 boost feature, network eye control, which is probably a software utility, easy BIOS flashback, so you can flash BIOS to the board even without having a CPU installed. Left side we just see a bit more branding, back just different languages. In the back of the box you can see the layout of the motherboard and the general specifications. We'll get to that when we open it up. Dual intelligent processors, 3 with smart DigiPlus power control. Get an incredible performance with the TPU and all new smart DigiPlus. Up to 85% boost in CPU frequency. CPU wattage requirements cut in half. And it's about the ASUS Wi-Fi Go, DLNA support. Their Fan Expert 2 most comprehensive fan settings, so you can set different peaks for each fan, so at different temperatures the fans perform at different levels. Virtue MVP, which allows hybrid graphics support, so you can use the integrated graphics that is already on the CPU itself and be able to use the dedicated video card. It's improved Lucid Virtue from previous generations on Z68, for example. Let's get the motherboard out. Have a bit of foam. Motherboard on top. We'll get to that in a second. Underneath, bit of cardboard, we have our accessories. So we have 4 SATA 360 gigabit second cables. We have a black I/O shield plate. 2 different outputs there. We'll get to that. We have a not black flexible SLI bridge connector. We have the Wi-Fi Go module with the antennas that go with that. Another set of 2 SATA connectors, right angle. This is a USB eSATA back panel. The ASUS Q connectors, so you more easily plug in the front panel connectors. We have a version 1.4 3D HDMI, quick start guide, software and drivers disk with an ASUS powered sticker. Download the latest drivers from the ASUS website. ASUS P8 user guide. Wi-Fi Go guidebook. Just how to set it up. Exclusive features: Wi-Fi Go, Fan Expert 2, network eye control, USB charge plus. Just do that and talks about different settings. Put all the accessories back in the box. Q connectors. Cardboard back in place. Let's close the box back up. Oops. And then let's get the motherboard out. Now this is, like I mentioned before, from the new Ivy Bridge chipset. So to be able to take full advantage, you will need an Ivy Bridge 22nm CPU, and at the time of filming those CPUs have not been released, but you could put an i5 2500K or 2600K. Any previous generation Sandy Bridge CPUs in this system, no problem. So we can see there's a nice blue theme. Motherboard does look black, but it's sort of a dark brown colour. Got the different heat sinks, which I think look quite nice. It's one of the better designs I've seen from ASUS in a while. We can see let's put it in the box, make it a bit more easier. We can see their number of PCI Express slots. This is if you have an Ivy Bridge CPU installed. This would be a PCI Express X16 3.0 bandwidth. X16 bandwidth at 3.0 standards is the same as X8 at 3.0 is the same as 16X on the at 2.0, which is the last generation. We have two PCI Express 1, PCI, 2 PCI actually. It's a bit legacy support there if you want to put any old hardware in. Another PCI Express X16. This one is a separate color. Obviously, you'd want to use the blue one first for the bandwidth. And then we have another PCI Express X16 slot. But they say it's X16 on the motherboard, but I can see here that it's only wired up to X8. I don't know about the white now. This one appears to be only wired up to X8, but X8 bandwidth at PCI Express 3.0 standard gives you the same amount of performance as PCI Express 2.0 at 16X. And besides, the performance loss from 3.0 to 2.0 is only a few frames per second, so you're not missing out on much performance. A lot still has to go to, it's mainly graphics card core based. On the back panel, we have PS2 connector, keyboard mouse combo, two USB 3 ports, two USB 2 ports, and that says here it's got a picture of USB 2 here with the keyboard and mouse, don't know what it's on about, SP-Def audio out, HDMI full display port. VGA, I don't really think that putting VGA on the back of a Z77 or Z68 motherboard is really quite practical. They should just include a DVI adapter down to VGA, because DVI carries everything that VGA requires for a signal. It's got Intel Gigabit LAN, two more USB 3 ports under there, and 7.1 channel audio out. If you go across the different connectors, down here we have a USB 3 connector. There's also one here on the right side of the board, which is, in my opinion, the ideal location. We have four USB 2 front panel connectors. We have the TPU switches here. They're the front panel connectors. How many fan switches? We have one 4-pin connector there, two. There are two more at the top of the motherboard. That's quite good for CPU cooling, especially if you have something like Corsair H60. If you have a push-pull fan design, you can hook those fans up easily. We have another two on the right side next to the 24-pin motherboard connector. Look at the SATA port layout. We can see that these two white ones here are SATA 6 gigabits per second. The blue ones, the light blue ones, are labelled as SATA 3 gigabits per second, and the deep blue ones also appear to be the SATA 6 gigabits per second, but one of those is probably using a different controller. Thanks for watching the unboxing of the ASUS P8-Z77-V Pro socket 1155 Ivy Bridge motherboard.